Phil Hellmuth is looking down at pocket fours. Pre-flop begins with a sequence that illustrates exactly why Phil Hellmuth is the most frustrating player in the world to play against. Peter Jetton opens the action to 2000 with ace-queen, a standard aggression from a young pro. Makhija, sitting with pocket kings, wakes up with a monster and puts in a textbook 3-bet to 6,000. In a GTO world, the action should end here for most marginal hands, but Hellmuth, holding pocket fours in the small blind, decides to cold call the 3-bet. This is a move that math-heavy players despise. He is playing set or fold, out of position against a range that crushes him.
You might be the tightest player at the table, Lucky. What? I thought you'd be the most aggressive.
The best hand I had all night was 2 9s.
This is like Bizarro poker, man.
Jetton calls.
You're playing like Phil Hellmuth, and Phil Hellmuth's playing like you. I don't know what's going on here.
The flop falls low and connected texture that misses the pre-flop aggressor's high card range, but connects dangerously with the type of garbage hands Phil is known to defend. Here, Hellmuth deviates from standard strategy entirely. Instead of checking to the aggressor, he leads with a donk bet for 10,500. This bet is psychological warfare. He is effectively asking Makhija, do you have an overpair, and are you willing to lose chips to find out if I have a set? Holding the kings, he cannot fold, but he also cannot raise without isolating himself against a set of 7s or 5s. The turn brings the 2, a card that adds significant equity to Phil's hand. He now holds a pair of 4s and an open-ended straight draw, needing an ace or a 6 to make a straight. Phil switches gears and checks, likely sensing that Makhija is ready to fire. Feeling his kings are still ahead of a random pair or a draw, he bets 24,500 for value and protection. Phil's call here is loose. He is chasing a draw on a board where he could already be drawing dead to a set, but his stubbornness and perhaps a sense that the poker gods are with him keeps him in the hand. The river is the ace, the ultimate money card for Hellmuth. The dynamic shifts violently. Phil, having backed into the nuts, leads out for a massive
48.
From Makhija's perspective, this is a nightmare. The ace is a scare card and connects with the board's runout. Furthermore, Phil's line lead flop, check call turn, lead river, is incredibly strong.
Only Phil Hellmuth can look into your soul. To know if you have it.
It represents a hand that was trapping on the turn and is now extracting maximum value. Makhija looks at his pocket kings, which have now been downgraded to a mere bluff catcher.
Oh, Phil. Close spot.
He's still trying to pick something up off of Phil.
All right, Phil. You can show me a bluff.
Mac folds.
If he was bluffing, he'd be smiling right now. So, believe me, he would love to show you that bluff.
Daniel Negreanu looks down to King 10 offsuit, a hand with decent equity in a 4-way pot. Against him is Elizabeth Houston, who opens to a Queen Jack offsuit. Let's see who will the poker gods bless this time.
See that? Cheap flop.
Reynolds folds.
Also makes it easier to call this 3-bet from Tony G.
He raises to 2,000. Queen Jack for the cannon. She calls out of position. So does Daniel.
And like that, Williams built himself his own little pot odds.
He calls 2. 4-person party to the flop.
The flop comes 8 Queen Jack Rainbow, which is perfect for Houston. She is looking at top 2 pair with no danger of a flush and only a potential straight or a pocket pair being in her way. Her odds look great, but I think she should have bet harder before Negreanu had a chance to see more of the community cards.
I fold.
Thank you, William.
With the bet sizing being insufficient, even Tony G with his mid pair of jacks that have 2% equity will make the call. The turn delivers the 4 of spades.
Looking at the board
Things
texture
couldn't
of
have been
this
better
channel,
for
we are
Houston.
facing some
Pocket
aggression.
4s would have probably
If you like
folded,
these videos,
same as the
drop
pocket
a comment
6s
to
from
balance the
earlier.
range.
But she is still
Tell them
afraid of
you
the
are here
flush
for
and
the
straight
poker,
draw.
not the drama.
That's why she fires a
And do
bet
not
for a
forget to
bit over half the
subscribe so
pot,
you
which I
never miss
think
a
will be
value
yet
spot.
again not enough
Now,
to get
let's get
Negreanu
back
off
to
his
the
hand.
action.
Daniel's checking out her stack, knowing she probably has something strong enough to lose it all if he does make the nuts.
Negreanu casually calls her $15,000 bet as predicted. But at least Tony G and his adventuristic jacks are gone. Now let's see what the turn will bring for Negreanu. And it is the ace. What a cooler this will be at the end.
That's Daniel's gin card, and this could get ugly for the cannon. I expect her to bet here.
Now she checks.
Somehow she knew to slow down. Daniel's got the nuts. Let's see how much he thinks she'll pay off.
50.
If Elizabeth has watched the show at all, she would know Daniel doesn't bluff raise the river very often. No one does.
If Elizabeth makes this call, she'll have less than 30,000 remaining in her stack.
Call.
Ouch.
She sees it.
Damn it.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on Jack 9 suited. He opens to $3,000 on the button, a classic small ball steal that also invites dominated jacks and queens to continue. Doyle Brunson flat calls in the small blind with Queen Jack suited, a smooth defend that keeps Negreanu's range wide and retains post-flop maneuverability.
Well, there's a lot of money out there, baby. A lot of money out there.
Go and get you some.
Troy Wiggins completes in the big blind with pocket fours for set value, and the stage is set. Brunson, holding top pair with a strong kicker, declines to bet into two players on a coordinated texture because checking keeps Negreanu's bluffs alive and avoids building a pot where he could be outkicked or check raised by club draws. The paired board reduces semi-bluffs, and Doyle seizes the lead for $8,000. From his seat, Negreanu's flop check capped him toward medium strength and draws, so Doyle's stab is designed to extract from worse jacks and to tax the clubs and queen-10 type gutters. Negreanu calls rather than raise. The flat keeps the pot manageable against a range that still contains ace-jack or king-jack, keeps Doyle's bluffs and thin value hands firing, and leverages position to make the final decision with maximum information. This river is a sneaky upgrade for Negreanu to two pair, while a large chunk of Doyle's range remains one pair of jacks. Doyle checks, signaling showdown mode rather than a polarized line. Negreanu now turns the knobs. His hand cleanly targets Queen Jack and King Jack, while very rarely running into a slow-played full house on this sequence.
Biggest hand I've had.
Quick call.
Jack 9.
Tough river card for the legend. Doyle Brunson running very salty tonight.
Let's see how Negreanu pushes his luck to the lit on the very next hand.
All in. Call. All in. Huh? Call. Oh, we got one. I'm happy with my hand. I had suited. I had a king. A lot going on there. You move in, I call this time anyway. I was just saying, screw it. Okay. We need a hat.
At least one heart on the flop would be good for Daniel.
George needs the best hand to hold up to survive. The flop has a 5 and a 10 on it.
Oh, we got pairs. He's got pairs. We all got pairs. We all got 3 hearts, 3 diamonds. Pretty close race. 50-50.
Not sure the math there works, but you gotta believe it first, and Daniel really believes it.
The turn card is the 3 of diamonds.
That didn't help me at all. Quite the opposite, frankly.
5 of spades!
Oh!
Daniel wins!
That was lucky.
I just wanted clear that I clearly outplayed you in our all-in pots. Obviously.
Kid Poker is in the final.
All right. Sorry, bro. That was ugly.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at pocket tens. The dynamic here is steeped in decades of mutual history and high-stakes tournament pressure. Negreanu opens the action with a standard bet, but little does he know he actually bet more than he wanted to.
Hey, Paul. Ready? Holy misclicks.
The small baller accidentally decided to play with a bigger ball. Yep.
Seidel has a crucial decision to make regarding his bet sizing. He could simply shove all in, protecting his hand and guaranteeing a decent increase to his stack. Instead, he opts for a much more sinister, value-oriented line.
Come on.
Whoops!
Ay-ya.
I call.
Seidel obviously calls.
Your misclick got me.
Oh, sick. Sick. That's kind of sick if you see with stands too.
I know, right? Then I had to then it forced me to get a little crazier.
Yeah, because...
So, that'd be good.
Seidel is the player at risk, but Negreanu is a huge underdog here. Even bigger dog now. Now just one chance. Just 5% for the double up. A 10 on the river!
You were right, thanks, Tobias. I run good. I got him covered.
Gross.
All right, good luck, everyone.
She's in with 6s.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with pocket 6s. This is a decent hand to entertain a small raise with and see if luck is on your side.
Back on Arden. She calls the 3-bet as well, so 3-way to the flop. Oh my word, set over set and Griffin's flop top pair?
This is going to be bad for Griffin, but it's going to be real bad for Arden.
With the board that the flop delivers, everyone has something to bet about. But instead of that, Tilly and Cho decide to check. With that in mind, our weak top pair is trying to take control of the board by shooting a small bet of $2,500. Tilly is loving it because other than a set of kings, nothing else on the board beats her, and she would love to see this pot growing, so naturally she calls. Miss Cho, on the other hand, has a completely different plan. She is not waiting for the pot to grow. She is growing it herself. She does that by firing a $9,400 bet. Now Benger has a choice. Entertain this top pair, or realize the truth and just give up.
Why is he so serious? He's like a goober 99% of the time.
The angry man quickly decides to fold and not pursue the king. On the other hand, Tilly is more than happy to oblige Miss Cho by re-raising to $30,000 with her set of sixes.
Oh boy.
Jen re-raises $30,000.
At this point, Miss Cho should know the deep trouble she finds herself in, but still decides to go ahead and call on her set of fives. The turn delivers the 9 of clubs, a card that is completely irrelevant to both of them. If I was in the position of Tilly, I would be betting pot here. What would you? Let me know in the comments below. I guess Tilly is not so happy about my jamming suggestion, so she decides to check here and wait for something magical on river. Same thing for Miss Cho. In her case, though, that is in her favor.
And Arden spikes a 1-outer. She's got quads. Meanwhile, Jen has rivered a full house.
Buckle up, because this hand just went from pretty sick to absolutely bonkers.
People say patience is a virtue, but in Tilly's case, her patience came to bite her from behind. The river delivers the only card that can save Miss Cho, and that is the 5 of clubs. Now the only question is, will Tilly get baited by her now full house hand? Or will she read her for the quads Miss Cho has? And as we all thought she should do, Miss Cho goes.
There it is.
This is not good.
No, it sure isn't.
If Jen calls, this will be the biggest pot of the game.
Arden, you have quads because it can't be quads.
Does she know?
I don't think you have kings full. And I don't think you have 9s full. You might have 5s full.
That's a call.
Doing an add-on, if no one objects.
No, of course.
I don't object.
Add on for as much as you like. Up to 500,000.
Pre-flop. This is a perfect example of how one aggressive decision can pull 3 other players into a very volatile pot. Brunson opens with 6-5 suited, a classic loose raise that keeps the game flowing and his range wide.
I call.
Hellmuth wakes up with ace-9 offsuit and chooses a big 3-bet to $12,600. That sizing is doing a lot of work. He wants to isolate the opener, pick up the dead money, and use position plus skill edge rather than pure cards. The problem is the hand itself. Ace-9 offsuit looks pretty, but in a re-raised pot it is in terrible shape against any calling range that includes better aces, big pairs, and suited Broadway.
I raised the pot.
When Wiggins looks down at pocket kings behind all of this, he is in a dream spot and decides just to call. That flat call is very tempting. He keeps all the weaker hands in, disguises his strength, and gives himself a chance to win a huge pot without ever having to face a 4-bet, but it also invites the players behind to come along with speculative holdings.
12-6.
Yep.
Call.
We have some cannon action over here.
And Brunson, getting an excellent price in closing the action, comes along as well.
I know Tony's gonna call it, so I might as well too.
Yeah. I love these big pots.
What a sick hand this is. 4 ways.
I'm not even going anyway next pot, so it's like a free roll for me.
By the time the dealer spreads the flop, Hellmuth's isolation 3-bet has turned into a 4-way pot where his dominated ace-9 has to navigate 2 deep stacks and one of the strongest starting hands in poker. The flop comes 9-10-9, and the board instantly rewrites everyone's expectations.
That flop looks like you, doesn't it?
No, Phil, I look like me.
17,000.
Phil bets 17,000.
If you look like me, why you bet so much?
Hellmuth, who started the hand with the most questionable value hand, suddenly finds himself holding trips with top kicker. From his point of view, this is about as good as it gets. He blocks full houses with his ace-9, beats every overpair, and is way ahead of any 10x that peeled pre-flop.
36,000.
I love you, Ernest.
I tried again, well, I just can't.
Doyle folds.
I was gonna race. I'm so sick.
Tony G's out.
Wow. This is almost certainly disaster for our loose cannon.
200,000.
What are you going to do if I move in? You going to call?
Phil, of course I have no choice but to, my brother.
You got aces or kings or something, or what?
Man, if I had aces or kings, man, I'd be the man right now, wouldn't I?
Well, I don't think I have a choice here. This is so sick. All right, I guess I'm all in.
I call. Kings.
I got 3 9s.
You gotta be kidding me. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
What were you slow rolling him for?
Here, man.
Maybe at 10 full. I mean, he was so happy.
That was so unreal.
That was torture.
I didn't mean to slow roll. Hold on. How many times you want to deal it?
Gimp.
You want to deal it 4 times? No, that's not.
When
a
you
slow
know
roll.
he's gonna call because he says it.
You know,
and
Phil Lock, why don't you just stay out of why don't you stay out of it?
Because I'm right here and I
because
feel bad.
you've been so far out of line to me, and every time we've played, and I'm just sick of it. So why don't you just mind your business?
12,600.
But he's right. It was a pretty sick slow roll.
I'm sorry, because I haven't done anything like that in my whole life.
Were you folding? I can't get away from this. The whole speech. The guy's already in.
He's already got 80% of
We'll
it.
decide.
4 times?
Yeah, it gives you a better chance to
Hey,
win.
damn sure do. Cool.
A jack of hearts.
Queen. Yeah, queen,
King.
The river, an ace of diamonds. Round 1 goes to Hellmuth. The turn, a king.
There we go. Full house. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Get me down.
The river's a 3.
15% dog. Ernest has won the second pot.
So that's cool. I'm feeling good right now. Well,
A 7 of spades.
Everybody's rooting for a spade.
It is a spade.
goddamn
Spade up 2-1. That's loose cannon. He's up 2-1.
Why did you go for 4 times? You went
A queen on the turn.
Jack. There's a jack.
The final river card. It's a king.
That's real. He hit 3 out of 4. He hit 3 out of 4.
That's
with the worst hand. Why is everyone so happy except Phil? That's what I'm talking about. Huh?
oh, yeah. That'll work, man. Yeah.